Hi, I'm Christy. Today I want to talk about helping your loved one improve their cooking skills consistently. Learning how to cook is a necessary skill in order to live independently. Unfortunately, it's also one that many of our loved ones with special needs struggle to learn successfully. Over the years, AJ has experienced various options for cooking, sometimes in school, sometimes at home. But he's never seemed overly interested in it, at least not past completing whatever held his fascination at the moment. There was a time he wanted to cook hot dogs or sausages. So he did it once or twice at home, and he manned the grill at school with his teacher's close supervision. Then he was quite happy to not do it anymore. When we'd offer to have him do it again, he'd respond with, "I did that already." Kind of like a been there, done that, don't need to do it again. He did a couple of rotations in the kitchen during his job skills program, and he seemed to really enjoy those rotations. He got burned at least twice. He had small, minor burns on both of his forearms at one point, but he still said that the kitchen was his favorite rotation. But he never seemed overly interested in doing more cooking at home. There was a short period while still in school when he wanted to take brownies to school each week for their potluck. For a few weeks, he proudly put them in and took them out of the oven. On occasion, we've had him make his own macaroni and cheese or other simple meal on the stove. We'd supervise, but we'd have him do as much of it as he could. He'd comply for the meal, but never showed much interest in learning to master the skills to do it more independently. Over the past year and a half or so, we've started having him make his own microwave meals whenever he doesn't want what we're having for dinner. Usually, this means heating or cooking a frozen meal. We've taught him how to read the instructions, as he calls them, to know what is needed for each particular entree. We've also taught him how to take the hot containers safely out of the microwave. With time, practice, and patience on our part, he's beginning to master this process. He can fairly consistently complete the process independently now, although I do have to often ask him what the next step is. And there are times he still needs reminders that he needs to take the next step, or else he distracts himself away from completing the task. I'm not sure that I'd leave him home over mealtime yet, having the confidence that he could make his own meal. But he's close. And I'm sure the day will come soon when paranoid mom will just have to suck it up and let him do it. I should probably pause here and clarify what I mean by mastering the skill of cooking. I don't mean becoming a chef who can complete complex and beautiful masterpieces. Nor am I talking about being able to follow a complicated recipe. There are plenty of typical people who struggle with basic cooking skills, let alone being able to do anything complicated. In some areas, this would definitely describe my cooking skills. What I am talking about, though, is the ability to have a handful of meals that our loved one can successfully cook independently so they can feed themselves. Ideally, this is more than microwaving frozen meals, but that's definitely a step in the right direction. I also realize that some of our loved ones will really take to cooking and or baking and will dive deep to learn how to read and follow a recipe. Some will even surpass many typical individuals' skills because they enjoy it this much. If that's your loved one, congratulations. Enjoy the products of their labors and continue to encourage them to progress in their learning and mastery of this skill. As I see it, here's what it all boils down to. If our loved ones can learn to make a few meals independently and or learn to microwave to make meals for themselves, then they are one step closer to being able to live independently. Do these meals have to be complicated? Absolutely not. In reality, they just have to be edible and ones that our loved one with special needs enjoys eating. If they can make meals for themselves that they enjoy, then they can fend for themselves for meals. If they discover they really enjoy cooking, then they can continue to work to improve their culinary skills and learn more complex recipes. And I hope many of them discover this love of cooking. But if they can learn just the basics enough to make food for themselves, they win. And that means we win as well. The more skills they can learn that will help them to live independently apart from us, the more likely they'll be able to move out from our house and actually live independently. And that's when everyone truly wins. More importantly to this series, it proves that they are continuing to learn new things and master new skills. They're growing and developing new skills that will continue to benefit them throughout their lives, and they're staying engaged in life. There's really nothing more that I could ask for AJ. Wouldn't you agree? So my question for you this week is this. Has your loved one with special needs learned how to cook? To use the microwave? Are you confident in their ability to fix a meal independently? I'd love to hear about your experiences. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. That's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in November of 2022. If you prefer, you can always email me at Christy, CHRISTY, at havenofhopeforme.com. I'm grateful that AJ is slowly learning to cook for himself so that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.